Are you ready to start the meeting?
I'm trying to, but everybody's still talking. It's like being in the classroom. The meeting is officially started. Welcome and good afternoon. Welcome to camp and the Rotary Club of Akron. We are part of a team of 1.4 million passionate individuals in 46,000 clubs worldwide. We are both an international organization and a local community leader, as you can see right here with our beautiful camp. Together, we lead change in our backyards and across the world. I'm Linda Farkas, and I'm honored to be the 2022-2023 president of our club. Thank you for joining us today in person and possibly online. If you would now please all stand and we'll begin with the pledge of allegiance, the four-way test, and our invocation today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Stands. Justice for all.
Four-way test. Thank you so much, Karen. Karen will be giving our invitation today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was up at Lakeside this summer, and the speaker there was an expert on Howard Thurman, and she talked about this meditations of the heart, and that she reads one of the meditations before every one of her classes. So I got curious and bought it, and it is wonderful. So I very much, but when I was looking for a meditation for us today, I thought about our service over self and the idea that gratitude inspires generosity. So this is called Magic All Around Us. I seek new levels of awareness of the meaning of the commonplace. It is easy for me to take things for granted and to deal with them without sensitiveness. When you have noticed the color of this, when have you noticed the color of the sky? When have you looked at the shape and place of a tree? What about the light in the eyes of your friend when he smiles? The gracious manner that your children has in meeting people at the door, the moving insight and the power of the words of a hymn, the music of which you enjoy, the renewal of mind and body after a night of restful sleep, the way the cut in your finger healed, leaving scarcely a trace of the opening, the spontaneous response which overcomes you when you are face to face with some poignant human need, the time when deep within your heart you whisper thank you to life, to God, as you say, to the fates. There's magic all around us, in the rocks and trees and in the minds of men, deep hidden springs of magic. He who strikes the rock alight might find them where he will. I see new levels of awareness of the meaning of the commonplace. So I just hope that starts your week off to think about little things and find gratitude so you can be generous.
Thank you so much, Karen. Doug is our welcome committee today. Wonderful expertise and board members. So will you please welcome the guests?
Thanks, President Linda. We have one guest Rotarian today, Julie Bruhart from the Cleveland Club. Julie, welcome. And Jack Harry has two guests today, Michael Constant and Sam Kicker. Michael is from Case Western Reserve University. Sam Kicker is with the University of Akron, ROTC. And you want to say hi or make any introductions?
So, just a thumbnail. Good afternoon, my name is Secretary Sam Kicker. I am the professional military scientist at the University of Akron. I've been in position for about a year. And my purpose is to develop the leaders of this model. So at the end, I have 65 cadets in my program, and I commissioned about 15 a year. Thank you for the invitation.
Welcome.
And I'm Michael Constant. I'm a vice dean for research for the School of Medicine at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. I'm a physician, take care of children with lung diseases, and I'm trying to retire. So I'm looking for things to get engaged with, and came across Jack and be interested in the vote and all the things that you folks do.
Come back at you. Linda.
We also have a couple of Rotarians, Jack helped me out, that haven't been with us for a while.
We have John Daly here.
Yeah, John.
And John got to see the dock that's going to be named after him for his generous contributions to the camp.
It's good to have John back. Jeff, we have another Rotarian at your table that hasn't been with us for a while.
Oh, you mean Stu Perry?
Yeah.
And he brought soccer to the University of Akron, and he's going to be honored. What's the day? Yes, this weekend. This weekend.
This week, Saturday.
I'll tell you a quick story about Stu. You know, large classes they have that get a little bit boring. I had one of the first transistor radios. The Stu would take one earphone and put it in the ear, and I would put the other one in my ear. We would listen to ball games while the instructor babbled.
Thanks, Jack. Did we have any Rotary ambassadors last week? All right, Connor, you want to do happy hours, please?
I don't have $1. I ain't happy. I have $1 now. I want to take this off. Is anyone happy today? All right. No. All right. Why am I here? Just sweet moments with my daughter, son. He's 4 months old. She's 3, and we're just enjoying every moment along that journey. So that's really special moments with some of my kids. So it's been a great boost in the week. All right, I'm happy. Thank you, Karen. I was happy. All right.
Oh,
Okay. Dude, all right.
And I'm for 5 million because I had an absolute curve and I'm happy to be happy to recognize where Kyle is from. And I was inspired by our 2 past presidents heritage when we said goodbye to where did he go? There he is.
I'm hiding.
Yes, like I'm really interested in Scotland and it's awesome. But in addition, I am so lucky to be part of this club. Because I get to come to camp and camp out. I slept in the dorms this weekend with the exchange students that are from 6630 and 6600. We've got 9 of them, and they are from, diverse countries. We launched their adjustment, just getting used to being here and seeing what America is all about. And it was just so much fun. So I want to invite all of you to join us, because there's no limit to who can be on the committee, who can, come and meet our exchange students. And we'll be having some more meetings in the fall. I'll let you know when it is, and you can sign up, and if you want to stay over, we'd love to have more chaperones, and we want young people, young people need to come and join us. Anyway, who can? I see though, with Rachel made a splendid breakfast to Stu. Where are you, Stu? That's why you remember right you are. It's organizing the baseball. As a matter of fact, you got follow up. Taking all of the exchange students to the baseball game, plus one close family member. And if you want to be a
Mr. Airy.
I have a happy dollar for the safe arrival of our exchange student behind Unions in Korea. And I sent photo to Cheryl, and she posted.
It's on your district website for video, but if we didn't as well on our website.
He is head and shoulders above all the kids in the world.
Yes.
$500. We got to spend the weekend with our grandson, our 2-day grandson Robbie, and it was awesome. It was a great day. I was completely exhausted after we went home. Since you forget how much work it is, but I believe it every day. So it was a fantastic weekend, and then the rest of it is for our Change for Change fundraiser at Mercedes Lounge on September 20th from 5 to 8 with tips and donations benefiting the Rotary camp. Myself, Julie Brandel, Karen Rebecca will be guest bartending with some help from real professional bartenders. So I'm looking forward to making not friends and friends.
Great, thank you, Adrian. Yeah, all right, here comes Mr. Bowie, and then Dave. All right.
Yeah, I just had a happy dollar. I heard some good news. I was talking with Kyle, our resident Scotsman who works here at the camp. And he informed me that he is engaged to a young lady he actually met at camp. Congrats.
Very nice. Congratulations. All right, Dave. Oh, got 3. All right.
I have $300. Number one, just want to remind everybody, September 21st, Akron Food Bank, 4:30 to 6:30. Would love to see you there. Afterwards, I don't know, we're gonna do an official social, but we go to dinner, so we'll pick a place.
Probably gonna be the 20th for the change for Kate's thing.
Yeah,
And then the 21st would be non-official, but
official, yeah, we'll be going to dinner and drinks afterwards anyhow. Number 2, happy to see Stu and Dan Richard and I, and our wife went to the Akron soccer game last night, saw them win 3-1 over BCU, so. And hope to make your tribute on Saturdays too as well, so. And then my last dollar is for my daughter, Donna Flagler, and they had their first soccer game this season, or this past week and won, so happy for her.
All right. Then you can $5 happy dollars for each. All right, all right.
Fellow Rotarians, I am just very happy to see your faces, your beautiful faces, and I'm happy to be here today And I'm thankful for Jack Barry to all of his efforts in getting John here with us today and Melanie in taking John back. Thank you, everybody.
I know, Amanda, you're happy, you guys are happy, or anyone else happy? Oh, you're on the agenda, okay, oh. All right.
So I am happy that, Dave and I went to the soccer game last night. Stu, if you want to be entertained, you gotta sit next to me for the soccer team. I'm a football player. I'm continually amazed of how a guy can ride in pain and then get up and score a goal in 30 seconds.
That's great. All right, everyone, happy, speak now for everyone's peace. Number one. All right, great. Everyone's happy here. You have to tell?
Oh, am I happy?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I just got back Friday night from Canada and did the Rocky Mountaineer train trip, and it was fabulous. And Jim and I have already had this discussion, having lived out west for more years than I want to tell you about. There's always discussion about the Rocky Mountains out west. But I'm a fan of the Canadian Rockies. They are absolutely breathtaking. And the train ride was like riding first class in an airplane. They were well fed and well taken care of with libation. And we stayed at 5-star hotels. We didn't have to stay on the trains. We stayed in 5-star hotels. So it was great, but it's good to be home. So there's nothing like the good old USA. Anyways, thank you to all our happy people. Amanda, did you want to say anything about cornhole? You want to mic?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
They won't be able to hear you.
We had our cornhole, the 13th annual cornhole tournament this past weekend. Thank you so much for everybody that contributed as a sponsor, player, that brought friends and neighbors. All in all, we had a record attendance since pre-COVID. We had 44 teams. Wow. 36 in recreational, 8 as skilled. So it's growing. We hope you mark the date last Saturday in August. Next year, we'll be back here. We raised about $15,000, which is 30 camperships, helping sending kids to camp. So Macy's food truck, as always, did a great job with the food. We had ice cream. House of the Rose provided beverages. The weather was great. All in all, a great day. So thanks again for helping us get there.
Say that number again.
About $15,000 was a cornhole tournament.
Amazing.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to camp today. So guess what I'm here to remind you of? We are 25 days out from the regatta. So who has bought their tickets? Who's coming? We really appreciate that. We appreciate those that can't be with us, who are sponsoring. It's going to be a fabulous event here at camp. So we really appreciate that. There's invitations back there. I know you all got them. And bring some friends. You know, show them what camp's all about. So thank you.
Thanks, Ella. Dan, I know you've got some food in your mouth, but from all of us here for last week and this week, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming through and letting us have our babies here at camp. So applause, applause. Good job. It was fantastic. And we had round tables. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. So if there's no other announcements, Katie, I'm going to turn it over to you, please.
Okay, I'm here today to introduce, this was actually the last speaker I booked after my 2 years of booking speakers, and I was thrilled when I was able to reach out to my friend Jim Mullen, who is the president and CEO of United Way of Summit Medina County, for an update on the bold goals. I know they've changed. I was able to attend a big breakfast, and I thought it was time for our community, our little group here to hear about what United Ways can be doing. I'm not going to read his bio. It's already on our newsletter. Jim can go ahead and give a synopsis of his experience if he chooses, but the highlight of it is he graduated from Eastern Michigan University and so planning to stop.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So before I get to United Way, I do want to just share a personal comment. The Rotary camp means a lot to me personally, and a lot of people don't know this, but my nephew spent multiple weeks here a year. He is severely autistic, and the respite that the Rotary camp provides to my brother and his sister-in-law is second to none. Quick story: this year during our day of action, I came out to thank the volunteers that were volunteering here, and I saw this body, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's my nephew. You can't miss him because he's about 6'4", 300 pounds, and it was a great surprise to be able to see him getting ready to get kicked out a couple Fridays ago. So this place does amazing work. So thank you guys for the support. So before I get into the bold goals, there's a couple things I just wanted to talk about first, which is some of you probably saw, hopefully you saw in the last week or so. We've been talking about this as a community for a very long time, and that is formal recognition and groundbreaking of the Sojourner Truth Plaza in Akron. So those of you that aren't familiar with Sojourner Truth, she delivered one of the most famous, iconic speeches in the history of the women's suffrage movement and the civil rights movement right here in Akron, Ohio, back in 1851. And that speech was actually given on the site of the current United Way of Summit Medina headquarters. Incredible group of women really for the last 20 years, starting with Coach Gambrot's mother at the University of Akron, was one of the first people to say we needed to do something to memorialize this individual in our history. So we're very happy as a United Way in partnership with organizations like our Community Foundation, the Sojourner Truth Project, and many others to literally show you the project is coming to fruition. It's going to be on the exact site where that project, or I'm sorry, where Sojourner Truth gave her speech, and right adjacent on the United Way of Summit Medina property. So this is a huge deal for the community from an economic development standpoint, from the gateway to downtown. This will be the first thing you see as you're coming in from North Hill into downtown Akron, kind of the gateway from the north into downtown Akron. So we're very excited to be part of it and have this as part of the United Way Summit Medina. So I want to make sure you guys knew that. Completion will probably be sometime in the spring of 2023. So we're going to shovel. We're under ceremonial shovel, but actual backhoes and things like that. So to Katie's point, so change in United Way, we haven't really changed both goals drastically. What we wanted to do is make sure that we're flexible and nimble, specific to what's gone on in the pandemic over the last 2 years of our work as United Way. But before I do that, I do just want to give a shift. Anytime I get the opportunity to talk to groups like this, I want to make sure people truly understand that this isn't what many people think of United Way. We're not operating a fundraising campaign where we take money in and then we pass money out. It's actually not what we really do at all anymore. And we're a very different United Way in terms of our scope. So, not your parents' United Way. So this past year, we just closed our audit at our board meeting last week. We had a $40 million annual revenue for our fiscal year end, March 22. We're a direct service program provider. So much of what we do is actually providing direct service to clients within Summit Medina. So we have clients in our building areas today. Campaign revenue is about a third of that total revenue. So I get asked that quite a bit. What is the campaign? The campaign is only a third of all the revenue that we generate as an organization. And that diversification of revenue has been critical. I get asked this all the time too. So do donors still designate through United Way? The answer is yes, they do. But it's certainly not at the scale and scope that it was back in 2015. So we had less than $1 million of donor designations, which means people specifically choosing charities to give through United Way as opposed to giving directly to United Way. And as you can see, back in 2015, that was over $8 million that was directly designated. The last thing is we've acquired 2 area nonprofits, obviously United Way of Medina County from United Way of Greater Cleveland. So we actually took them on from United Way of Greater Cleveland about 2 years ago, and they are now formally a part of United Way. It's one organization and it's not 2 separate organizations. And then we acquired InfoLine back in 2018. So again, not your parents' United Way. We're not a transactional fundraiser. We don't raise money and then pass it out. We're really about impact, which you'll see here in a second. So before I get into the details of both goals, one of the things that we're committed to is return on investment. So we are fanatical about this. So this is not fuzzy math. This is real. If you pull our 990, you find it under 990. This is how we talk to our donors about their return on investment. So the one thing that we're committed to, when you give United Way $1, we turn it into 11. So the question that nonprofits are often asked is, what's your overhead? We can answer that. Pretty clear, you know, on $40 million, $4.5 billion to spend on that $40 million return, it's about 12 cents. But the reality for us is it's really a 11-to-1 return. So how we do that is obviously contributions to the community, that $38.1 million, individual donors, corporate gifts, foundation, government grants, 9.7 million, which is direct benefit to clients. So the example I'll use, we operate the largest imagination library program in the state of Ohio, which is in partnership with Governor DeWine and the governor's office. Those books would cost a family anywhere between $15 and $17 bought new. Because of that program, it costs those families nothing. They're free, and it costs United Way about $2.14. So we have right now about 18,000 families enrolled in that program. They get a book every month. The difference between that $15 what they would spend and the $2 that we spend is a direct benefit to the client. And you'll see some other things as we go through. So we spend about $4.5 million a year on fundraising, management, and operations, and we brought back $50.8 million to the community this past year. So again, turning your dollar from 1 to 5. Let's talk about the goals though. So to Katie's point, we did add some goals and shift a little bit, but there's 4 goal areas, pretty straightforward. So ready for success, youth success, financial empowerment, health equity. Specifically what the goals are is goal 1 hasn't changed at all. So 3rd grade reading within the Akron public schools is critically important. We need to make sure more kids are reading on grade level as they persist through the Akron public schools, so that they can continue to learn on grade level and above grade level as they progress through their schooling. 65%, I get that question all the time. It's rooted in the county average. So a lot of people don't know this, but at the time we launched the goals, Summit County as a whole, 65% of 3rd graders are reading on grade level. So our goal was to get to Akron, to the county average, which would in turn get the county up to over 80%, which at the time would have been the highest performing county in the state of Ohio in terms of 3rd grade reading attainment. Goal 2 around youth success. So we are the lead partner on college and career academies. So what that means is we align business community to opportunities for student success 9 through 12. So our goal is to ensure that every kid has real life experiential experiences within high school of what their future career path is going to look like. We work also with the teachers and the administrators to make sure they do externships and internships to understand what is the environment and what they're training kids and young adults to be as they grow older. And that's 90% of high school APS are graduating within 4 years and 60% college are graduating. A new one post-pandemic that we added is the youth opportunities and success. You all are probably keenly aware, it's being covered routinely. We have seen a huge increase in youth violence in this community during the pandemic and post-pandemic. It is something that we need to pay attention to, and there's a lot of correlation here. So we've set a goal that 60% of Akron youth are either employed or active in extracurricular activities. So that may seem like, where'd you come up with that? But there's a survey that the county does, a youth survey, and what we found is pre-pandemic, Akron public school students, over 60% of them were either full or part-time employed or involved in extracurricular activity after school. Post-pandemic, it was down to 43%. So about a 20% decline in the number of kids that were actively involved in something outside of school. In the suburban districts, it maintained. So the suburban districts had no effect. The pandemic had no effect on extracurricular or employment. There is correlations between attending school, doing things outside of school, and youth violence. So we are very much focused on ensuring that more kids are occupied and doing things constructive outside of the school buildings as part of Goal 2. Goal 3 is financial empowerment, 11,000 Summit County residents, 2,500 Medina County residents. That does not change except adding Medina. And then Goal 4 is our biggest shift. So our original aim is at the opioid crisis. Our goal was to reduce the ER visit rate of overdoses to 1,000. We started at 2,600. We're very happy to announce in 2021, we were down to 1,013. So we essentially reached that goal. And our first step program in partnership with Mullen Catholic Charities is the best practice nationally recognized program out in the country. That was launched because United Way focused on Goal 4. New goal is to reduce Black infant mortality rate in Summit County to 6 per 1,000, and I'll dive into that here in a second. So this is the progress. So we were super excited. You know, I would love to stand in front of the Rotary group 2 years ago and talk about success because we were killing it. So third grade reading scores, you can see, we started at 38%, we got up to 50%. We were well on our way to that 55% goal. We were all very confident. The pandemic hits. In the first class that was tested post-pandemic, 27% now, back in public school, third grade reading at grade level. We expected it to go backwards. We did not expect it to go past the baseline, but logically thinking, these kids that were just tested were kindergartners when the pandemic started. So those formative years of early learning and reading in first and second grade were substituted with remote learning and lack of access to high quality education. So that's why we haven't changed Goal 1, why we're so bullish on it. I already mentioned the Imagination Library, again, almost 19,000 kids enrolled. 61% of those low income families don't have books at home. So I know that's a foreign concept to some, but literally 2 in 3 families of low and moderate income families do not have books. So this provides, because of the governor's work, because of the United Way here in Summit Medina, we provide a month book in the home every month to families throughout Summit Medina with no income restrictions. It's for anybody can sign up. And again, our program is touted as one of the best in the states. We also operate family resource centers, which I'll talk in more depth in a second. But those are full wraparound services at these 4 schools. We're scaling to 5 this year, and we'll be at 9 by the start of the 2023-24 school year next fall. So this one, buck trends. So despite the pandemic, we've seen an increase in high school graduation rate. We continue to see an increase in college career readiness. We expect that to grow exponentially as the college career academies are now full bore. We know that there's more industry credentials and more kids coming out of high school and the Akron public schools with some level of industry credential that allows them to do 4 things, which is be employed, enroll in a 2 or 4 year college, enlist in the military, or on an entrepreneurial path. Those are the 4 things. So our goal is to get 60% of every kid that graduates from APS to do one of those 4 things. And we're well on our way with a full slate of college career academies in the public. So keys to financial empowerment. This is our player on the adult population. There's 5 tenets of financial empowerment. They're on the screen. And we're having incredible progress. We opened our first financial empowerment center back in June of 2018. We now have 3,300 residents on the path to financial empowerment. We've had almost 9,000 coaching sessions. Direct benefit to clients. So this is cash directly to clients. In that 4-year period, we have almost $14 million going back directly to clients through debt reduction, asset building, and private income tax returns. So when you think about that, we spend about $100,000 a year on vitamins. We're returning $13 million. That's an incredible investment in vitamins. When we reduce debt to a family, the average income for a family coming to see us around one-on-one free financial counseling is about $29,000 a year. Their non-mortgage debt is $24,000 a year. So they're coming with almost as much debt as they do income that's non-mortgage related. So the more we can continue to reduce that debt and build emergency savings, the more likely they are to be sustainable adults. Transportation issues, and their car breaks down, they can actually have repair money to fix it, they can get to work still. Those are the goals of financial empowerment and sustainability for adults. In Medina County, we offer 3 things: Imagination Library, 2-in-1 financial empowerment. And again, those programs are Medina County wide and things that are being offered as direct service from United Way. So Goal 4. This is the new one. This is one I'm going to spend just a quick minute on. You know, when we launched our goals back in 2016, we were a community in crisis. We're in crisis around the opioid addiction. I will tell you that crisis still is here. We have not eliminated addiction specific to opioids in the addiction crisis. What we can tell you is we're going through this process again post-pandemic to say where do we need to be as an organization. We're in another crisis. And this crisis is there is not enough young one-year-old babies reaching their first birthday, particularly in the Black population. So if you don't know, there's a huge disparity. So for every 1,000 live births in Summit County, 15.5 Black babies don't make it to their first birthday. For every 1,000 live births in the white community, only 2 don't make it to their first birthday. It's the largest gap in the state of Ohio. Summit County is also the only county that had an increase in infant mortality from 2015 to 2021. So this is a crisis. It's something we need to pay attention to. And again, we're starting that programming thanks to the state of Ohio around a program called the Healthier Beginnings at Home, where we provide full wraparound services, case management to expectant mothers, prenatal visits, secure housing, job training, job development, and then post-birth baby well visits and continued care around infant mortality. We can change this. We just have to change how we operate, how we think around infant mortality. The other thing we do a ton of is basic needs. I want to make sure I highlight that quickly. So since the pandemic started, United Way of Summit County has case managed and paid $47.5 million in rent and utility assistance. Again, that's something a lot of people don't think of. We did this pre-pandemic, but obviously the scale of what we're doing is at an all-time high. So we're receiving through the state of Ohio and federal dollars money to help families who are in mortgage, rent, or utility assistance need. And again, we case manage these individuals. We're not just writing checks. We're not just paying people's rent. We actually work with them one-on-one on case management to get them to a place where they're not going to need us anymore, where they can pay the rent on their own, and we're moving them through the system. We just got called last week. We're actually being recognized nationally as the best practice program in the country, and the only United Way that's being recognized for this. So again, huge, over 7,000 households served. This one's a scary one for all of us. 40% of them have school-age children. So go back to 3rd grade reading. There's connectivity here. Kids that are transient that don't know where they're going to put their head on their pillow at night are going to have a really difficult time achieving success in school. So what we're trying to do is eliminate some of those basic needs issues around housing and food insecurity so that they're able to do what they need to do in the classroom and outside the classroom to be successful and move through the continuum of education. And the CARES program is one way that we can do that. We do 2-in-1, so this is a 24-hour day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year information referral helpline. Just this last year, we've taken 73,000 calls, about 100,000 searches in the database. So these are people that are calling because they're food insecure, they need housing, they have a mental health break, they're suicidal, they need care for their elder parent, they need child care. That's what these individuals are calling for. Again, that database is live and searchable for anybody in our community. This one is something that we're really proud of. So as the pandemic happened, people were shut in. CDC, medical providers, telling people to stay in their home. A lot of people didn't give a lot of thought to, well, what about the people that can't get food? What are the people that are reliant on things in terms of Meals on Wheels or things like that that are being brought into the home that no longer can do that? We partnered because of our scale and scope. We partnered with the food bank and at a national level with DoorDash. And we started delivering food to shut-ins, people that were either sick or elderly that could not come out. As you can see, since 2001, we've done 8,221 food deliveries, diaper deliveries, and book supplies. So this is something we weren't doing pre-pandemic that we learned. Let's leverage the technology that exists and things like DoorDash, and let's get people what they need without having them go to the food pantry, having them go to the food bank and wait in lines for food. So that's all done through United Way. We schedule all the calls for every food pantry in Summit County, and then we added this component to it when we were hearing people couldn't actually get to their food pantry appointments. We partnered with DoorDash to do that. Here's just a summary, so you can see about 75% of the calls are for 3 things: housing, utility, basic needs. People don't know where their next meal's coming from. They don't know where they're going to sleep tonight, and they can't pay their utilities. So this just shows you kind of a sense of where people are, what they're calling for. The last thing, just really briefly, that I want to touch on is what we announced in April, late April, early May, and this is this new idea of building a new ecosystem. So there's a couple things that this has to do. The first thing it has to do is it has to check the ecosystem to get to the ecosystem. So one of the things that we are really passionate about is knowing that we're not going to provide everything we can, but there's really great organizations in the community that provide things that United Way doesn't, and vice versa. There's things that niche organizations provide that United Way can't, and vice versa. So what we know to our core though is when we can provide intensive case management services, we start to see real outcomes change. So it's not good enough anymore just to say, we're gonna give somebody a food box. It's not. We have to address that immediate need, why they needed the food box, give them the food box, then figure out what is the root cause of why that family needs support or why that individual needs support. And that's that intensive case management model. So we have 3 areas where we provide ongoing case management wraparound services in our family resource centers, which again are housed within the Akron Public Schools, our financial empowerment centers, which are co-located all throughout Summit Medina County, in partnership with the state of Akron. And then our housing services, which again, we provide ongoing case management for people that are in domestic violence situations, shelter situations, or can't pay their rent or their mortgage. When we get somebody in one of those programs, our goal is to case manage them. And I said this a lot, you know, it used to be, we don't want to give anybody a handout, we want to give them a handout. I say we don't want to give them a handout or a handout, we actually want to hold their hand. We want to walk with them through the process of getting them to a place of sustainability. So our job is really navigators. Our team will talk about it all the time. Our goal is when we work with a family, we want to address those immediate needs. That is the reason they call in the first place, but we want to help them navigate the system that allows them to get to a place of sustainability. It's ongoing work with a family. It's not one-off, we're going to do this, then we'll see you in a year. It's intensive, it's relatable, it's the center of this new model. That said, we can't do any of that without addressing those basic needs and mental health issues. So, like I said, mental health, food insecurity, housing, we have to address those. We have to get them in a place of stability. And then we can start talking about intensive case management services that move people to a place of sustainability. The last thing I think is a quick video. We launched this and this kind of gives you all a sense of what this is a real client. She's not an actor. She did this all around. This is really simple.
Get a job. Just rent an apartment. You should have gone to school. Don't be lazy. You clearly misunderstood. Work harder. They tell me to get a job, but those people don't know how long it takes to ride the bus. They don't realize it's either paying rent or paying for a Lyft ride. They don't know what it's like navigating a broken system. Sure, help is out there, but it's hard to reach. And when you do need help, people make it seem like you shouldn't use the assistance. It makes you feel like you failed. They tell me to get a job. Navigating the system is my job. That's where we come in. We understand what people are going through. We know the system isn't helping the way it should. It wasn't designed to be easy. United Way of Summit and Medina is building a better system. One that puts people at the center. A system that breaks down the barriers that prevent people from getting help. One where we walk side by side with those who need us the most. From the first call, to the first appointment, to achieving lasting stability. We're here every step of the way. No one should have to struggle to find help. No one should have to endure poverty. It takes a system that meets people where they're at and supports them until they've found success. This is a system our community needs, the one our community deserves. And United Way of Summit and Medina is building that system.
That's all I got. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, I'll just close with saying, standing in front of a group like this who is service oriented, this only happens because of the service that this community provides. And I've been multiple places. I grew up in Cleveland. I was in Nashville. Now I'm in Akron for 8 years. There's nothing like Akron, Ohio. There's nothing like Akron, Ohio. I believe to my core the reason this is working is because it's Akron, Ohio. There's other places that have tried this and tried to do this and it just doesn't work. But we are starting to see it change. There's wonderful people that come through this room that truly care about this community. So thank you for everything you guys do, Rotarians. Thank you for letting me speak to you today. I'll turn it back over here.
Yeah, I forgot to say that Jim's also a Rotarian, so it's not, he's talking about it like he's not part of this amazing service organization. Before we go, does anybody have any questions for Jim? Connor?
Not, well, again, thank you very much for your time and fantastic work you United Way is doing. Not to fixate on this, but I kind of curiosity to say, what do the numbers look like for like Cleveland or inner city Cincinnati or other place, Toledo, infant mortality, is there any why Akron? What's the struggle there?
So when I answer that question, I try not to get political because I'm not supposed to. But it's a tough question to answer. So back in 2015, the administration of the state at that time recognized that the big 8 had a real mortality issue. All of them were hovering somewhere between 12 and 16 infant mortality deaths per 1,000. They convened a group. I was part of that group, and we felt strongly that local communities receiving state funding to instruct and help in mortality was a better play. And the administration at that time decided to give it to the third-party Medicaid providers, and the money never came out of Medicaid providers. So they were basically reimbursing themselves for the uninsured care that they were provided, as opposed to providing wraparound and case management services to families that were in situations of housing instability, those type of things. So it's not indictment, it just didn't get implemented. So what happened, all the other big 8, so all had at least a decrease in mortality. Akron was the only one that had an increase.
Okay.
Why? You know, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a pretty strong narrative in Akron right now about affordable housing, the lack thereof. I think that is part of it. It is the #1 precursor for mortality, so you have stable housing outside of prenatal business. So I do think that's part of it, but I think we're digging pretty deep. So that pilot I mentioned is funded by the DeWine administration. The money came to the Summit County Health Department. It's a partnership with the City of Akron, the Summit County Public Health Department, and the United Way. So Summit County Public Health is providing all the health services, we're providing all the housing and case management services in the City of Akron, providing some backbone support around legal issues and things like that. So this administration is thought differently, and we're a pilot of that. I think it's a $2.4 million grant. Again, it's called Healthy Beginnings at Home. It just launched August, June. So June. So we have 2 full-time case managers. They're going to pilot about 40 expecting mothers over the next 6 months.
Thank you.
Kara, you have just, and not to do this, but I'm thinking about poverty because that really changed the way I look at a lot of issues in our community and how I led my organization. So how can people know that they have gone and
Yeah, so if you don't know what Bridges Out of Poverty is, it's ongoing training that we've done for decades now. It's about 20 years old. We've updated the curriculum pretty significantly from the original review thing, but basically it walks people through the understanding of poverty in the workplace, poverty in our community, and how to interact with such, how people move on a path of sustainability. We have community Bridges Out of Poverty trainings once a month. Those are on our website. So you can go and just sign up. We also offer, you know, if the Rotarians wanted to do a Bridges Out of Poverty session, we would schedule it and invite all the Rotarians and we would do it for the Rotarian group, either at our office or here or Bounds, wherever you guys want to do it. And certain groups that we bring it to as a collective group to experience that. It's an all-day training that we've done abbreviated. You know, when corporations ask us, they're not going to give us 8 hours, they give us 2 or 3, so we abbreviate it and try to get as much done in 2 to 3 as possible.
all day, all day.
All day. So for us, you know, it's a requirement for our staff every year. They have to go through British training because it gets updated. There's new additions. There's additions around the bias training, those type of things. So it's a requirement of our staff. And last year, I believe 2,800 people in our community went through Bridges Out of Poverty just last year alone. And I think our numbers this year are surpassing. Specific to that, Karen, I'm going to take a little more. We think this is true. I can't verify it, but I'm pretty sure it's true. We have 4 diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals. We think we have the most DEI professionals of any for-profit or nonprofit organization in the city. And those people are all aimed at working with organizations, companies in the community on advancing equity and really talking about it in a way that is productive as opposed to the pulling apart that I think we're all seeing right now in our community, which is quite honestly unproductive. And really bringing people together around how we move forward as a community. So.
Just a token of our appreciation, this is a commemorative token and then highlighting Rotary International's theme of Imagine. So thank you very much, Jay.
Hello.
That's great. Thank you so much. Dan's gonna do our drawing.
Last 4 digits, 8587.
Congratulations, Brian. Again, thanks Dan, Bella, and Amanda. I don't see that she's here, and everyone. Oh, there you are. Okay, and everyone for hosting us the last 2 weeks. It's so good to be at camp. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The food was excellent again. Please thank the kitchen staff too. They're critical. So again, thanks to everyone. Our guests, please come back. You are welcome. Our poor Sam, being an Air Force wife, wasn't real good with recognizing the camouflage on the uniform. So Sam, I apologize. I demoted him. He's a lieutenant colonel, and I called him a major. That's a big quote. No, Sam, I apologize. Please forgive me.
Go Army!
Thanks. There's no Air Force in there. No. Anyways, anything else for the good of the cause? Again, thanks to our guests. Just remember, next week we're back at Bounce, and you'll all come next week at Bounce downtown Akron. Please, please, please.